Like many of you, as we approach the end of the school year, I've spent hours upon hours studying, taking tests, doing homework, sitting in class, and doing everything else that is required of students to be successful in the United States. It's clear that the U.S. places high value on educating its students. In fact, according to an article published in April 2023 by Researcher.com, the United States has 137,432 education institutions. On top of that, according to an article published in 2022 by the U.S. Department of Education, Institute of Education Sciences, on average, the United States spends $15,621 per student per year. As I mentioned, it's clear that the United States values education, but as college students, so do we. I would be lying if I said I hadn't questioned the U.S. education system once or twice in my 15 years of school. Is the U.S. education system really successful, or have I just been skating by? Is the U.S. education system really teaching me, or have I just been getting lucky? Well, throughout the course of this speech, I hope to show you how the U.S. education system successfully educates its students. More specifically, I would like to show you how through the use of standardized curriculum as well as a wide variety of schooling options, the United States comprehensively and thoroughly educates its students. I would like to begin by discussing the standardized curriculum that is employed in schools throughout the United States. Anyone who was enrolled in primary or secondary school after the year 2010, which is most of us, are probably familiar with the idea of Common Core. A 2011 article published by the Educational Researcher explains that Common Core was a set of guidelines implemented in schools in the United States after 2010. The purpose of the guidelines was to ensure that children were reaching mastery before they were moving on to the next topic level in certain subjects or the next grade. The way that the program worked is that students needed to show comprehensive learning of certain topics in subjects like English, math, literacy, and language arts before they were able to move on to the next topic. Upon the completion of the school year, students needed to show comprehensive learning of the entire subject before they were able to move on to the next grade. This meant that it became impossible for students in the U.S. education system to move on unless they were able to show that they comprehensively learned information. Now, I know that this isn't the only way that the U.S. education system has been successful at educating its students. With that being said, I would like to discuss the wide variety of schooling options that are available to students in the United States. Many of you may not know this, but there are over 14 different types of schooling options available to students in the U.S. Some of these you may be more familiar with, like public schools or private schools, but some of them may be a bit more foreign, like charter schools or magnet schools. With that being said, for the purpose of this speech, I have chose to highlight public schools and charter schools in order to give you an idea of the different schooling options that are available in the U.S. According to an article published in 2004 by the Phi Delta Kappan, public schools are learning institutions that are funded and overseen by the government. What this means is that they're funded by taxes, but the government decides exactly the curricula that is taught in the schools, as well as extracurricular activities and enhanced learning programs that are offered in schools. This means that public schools are geared towards students who can thrive in a diverse learning environment, which makes them great for a majority of U.S. students. On the other hand, we take a look at charter schools. A 2015 annual review of sociology article explains that charter schools are similar to public schools in that their money is garnered by taxes, yet they're different as they're not overseen by the government. Charter schools are overseen by universities, parents, educators, or private organizations. This allows them to be autonomous and innovative with their curriculum in order to specify criteria to certain students. Charter schools have specific learning for specific events, like some are garnered towards STEM, while others are garnered towards college prep. The point of this means that only specific students can go to charter schools, and only students that would best succeed in a charter school environment are often let into charter schools. While I know I've only highlighted 2 different types of schools for this speech, I hope that these 2 provided you a greater insight into how the variety of school types in the United States sets students up for the most success. Being able to choose the school type that best suits students means that they will get the most comprehensive education. With this being said, I would like to cover an objection that has been raised by Bryan Caplan. Bryan Caplan is an American economist, New York Times bestselling author, and a professor of economics at George Mason University. In his book, which was published in 2018 by Princeton University Press, Caplan explains that the primary function of education is to certify intelligence and work ethic, thus graduation is society's top conformity signal. While I do not disagree with Caplan, his claim can be refuted by an article published in 2021 by Forbes. This article states that students cannot graduate without building actual achievement in school. The way that the United States education system is designed means that students must gain actual knowledge in order to move from level to level. Thus, graduation means students have met all learning requirements of U.S. schools. While Caplan is correct, graduation does signify employability. That is simply because businesses know that graduation means knowledge. To conclude, I hope I've been able to show you how the United States uses standardized curriculum as well as a wide variety of schooling options to comprehensively and thoroughly educate its students. I have spent 15 years in the U.S. education system. I know 2 plus 2, I know 9 times 12. I know how to analyze wars, I know how to write research papers, I know how to give speeches. And I, like many of you, worked hard for everything that I have accomplished. I know that the U.S. education system has its flaws, but I do not doubt that the United States education system successfully educates its students.